Hi everybody, and welcome to my channel, The Contemplative Mind. Today I have a subject that concerns me, and I'm sure the same subject concerns many of you, and that is the subject of jobs. Do you think that there are real jobs out there, real jobs that Obama has promised from the last, two terms? Now, this video is not a video to bash Obama, because he has, done a lot, but I think that the whole subject of job creation, what is the word I'm looking for? Those statistics aren't telling the true story, and right now, we got this bozo, Trump in office. I am really concerned of our future. Okay. Let me start off by saying this. Okay. Yes, there are thousands of jobs that has been created as a result of the Obama administration, but at the same time, what people are not talking about is the fact that many of these jobs that's been created are temporary jobs, contract jobs. Many of these jobs are part-time jobs. And many of them are part-time jobs because many of these employers don't want to pay for health insurance because it's gotten so expensive with these, premiums for the health insurance. See, a lot of people don't know that. If you are a part-timer, your employer is not obligated to give you health insurance. That's why a part-timer have you ever noticed a part-timer can make a little overtime, but they would never give you 40. They would never give you 40 hours. Otherwise, if they keep giving you 40 hours or go over 40 hours, now they're required to give you full-time benefits, which would include health care. So that's one problem. The other problem is a lot of companies are not doing 401k anymore. A lot of companies who have 401k are not matching the 401k. They're not giving pensions no more. All of these things that we used to have, these jobs, alleged jobs that are out here now that's supposed to, make things so much better, they're not. All the things that we used to get, we're not getting anymore. So, is this job creation really real? Do you know how difficult it is to work 2 part-time jobs? And let me tell you, it's not all about whether you have the will or not to do 2 jobs. It's very difficult in terms of scheduling, because one job needs you at this such time. You may not be able to make it because of your other job. Maybe there's too much of a gap in between jobs, and you have to hang around for 2 hours because you're too close to go home to come back. You know what I'm saying? It's really taxing, on the body. And the other thing, in terms of looking for work, it really takes a toll on you physically. And a lot of these health experts, when they talk about this is why people are getting diabetes now, because they're lackadaisical. They sit home and look at TV all day and all this crap. Let me tell you, so-called experts, something. You really need to shut the hell up. Okay, because let me tell you something. Someone who has been unemployed for like 8 months, and thank goodness, I finally found a job. But that shit wasn't easy. Let me tell you something. And, trying to go to school and update my skills. Okay, I'm going to school. It requires me to sit down. To do my homework, it requires me to sit down. To get on the internet to do research for my homework, I'm required to sit down. To read and look at courses on YouTube or what have you, I'm required to sit down. Okay? To look for jobs, I'm also required to sit down for hours and hours and hours until I get cross-eyed looking at these, job sites. Okay, you're sitting down so many hours a day to the point that your back starts hurting because, so many of these things that you must do for yourself requires you to sit down. So many of you experts really need to change your mentality in terms of the way you think of people with certain illnesses like diabetes. Let me tell you something. Americans are some of the most hard-working people on anything they do. Okay, so don't believe that mess that if someone is sick or whatever, it's because they're lazy and they don't want to take care of themselves. Stress is killing us, not laziness. It's stress, and the fact that technology has changed our lives in such a way that it literally has become unhealthy for us. Okay, and it's even worse if you stay on Facebook, and or whatever on social media, which also requires you to sit down or constantly have your neck in a certain position to where eventually you'll have a injury to the neck from using technology for hours and hours and on end. But anyway, I'm really concerned about this. And the other thing I want to segue into the issue of jobs for people of color. A lot of scholars talk about different things that we can do to help with the issue of people of color not getting jobs still. We talk about education, vouchers and all kinds of things. But I gotta tell you something, and please don't get offended. But at the same time, you have to realize that there's a segment. I don't know how to say this. One day I was walking in Brooklyn, and I happened to pass by a college, and the students that I saw there was mostly Asian and Indian. It looked like, East Indian, and I'm like looking really hard, and I could not find any African American people in that college. It was a college of technology of sorts. I can't remember the name right now for the life of me. And I remember back in the days when people used to say, foreigners, they get everything handed to them and blah, 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 blah. I gotta tell you something. We all know that college isn't cheap. And these kids, these foreign kids that come here to this country, not everything is handed to them. Many times their parents take their life savings and pay for their kids' education with the hopes that they'll graduate to make a life for themselves. Okay? But, they're doing it. But then we have a significant number of black people in our community who, for whatever reason, just choose to stay out on the street talking about my nigga, my nigga, my nigga, my nigga, my nigga, and spend all their money on all these vices, cigarettes, and shit that is really unhealthy for us. But yet we want to talk about other people in our community, but see these foreigners that come here and get an education and get mad. Yes, of course, education is important, and yes, you could do whatever it is that you got to do to get vouchers and stuff, which is helpful. I am not against that, because anybody who's gone to even vocational school knows how expensive it is to get any kind of education, But at the same time, it's not just the fact of people not being educated. You have to acknowledge that it's also a cultural issue too. You have to acknowledge the fact that, it's not just getting black kids in school. You also have to make them understand that when they get in school, they're going to have to pull their pants up. You have to teach young girls to really have good self-esteem so that they don't wind up with a lot of babies by the time they're 16. Because any young girl in their right mind would not have children at that age. Actually, if they had a good parent, they, are less likely to have kids, that age. It is hard, although thank goodness I never had kids, but I can see. I have 2 eyeballs. I don't know. I've heard countless girls tell me, once they have a child, they can't go out, they can't hang out, they can't do the things they got to do, especially now, because nowadays grandma ain't gonna want to take care of your kids like they used to do 30, 40 years ago. They ain't doing that no more. You have a baby, you want to take care of that, and I think that's also one of the reasons why they had to put a cap on welfare, because it was just too many children. I mean, you have your body, you have a right to do whatever it is that you want, but understand that, these kids, having all these kids, they do impact us. You don't see it, but they do. They impact us with, in terms of taxes, being able to pay to support kids. They affect us, with how expensive housing is. They affect us in so many different ways. But anyway, let me not get into that. The subject matter of this today's video is jobs. I'm not sure, where I'm going with this video, and I guess that's just because there's no one reason for why we're having why we can't find jobs, or why there are jobs, not enough jobs being created. Oh, and let me make one other point. What makes finding jobs so damn difficult, I don't know if you guys notice, but no one wants to talk to us anymore. Technology has made things so automated to the point that they don't even have to talk to us anymore. And you don't even know how to process that. You can't even say, oh, well, he didn't like me because of my personality, or he didn't like me because, X, Y, and Z. Now, finding a job, putting your resume online has really become a lottery. Because when you submit your resume, they're not looking at the form of your resume. They're not looking at how well it's written. They're looking at keywords. So literally, it doesn't matter, when you send your resume, how many times you send your resume. There's no order in which the resume was received. None of that. Have you ever listened to the radio lately? I think it's, I forgot what station it is, 1010 Wins, or it's some station I was listening to. And it was a commercial for ZipRecruiter. And it's, all I remember is this guy saying, I don't have to make any calls. None of that. And when he said that, none of that, that really hit me hard. That's really letting me know that no one wants to talk to us. So that, now I understand kind of why it's important to go to job fairs. I never like going to job fairs because I think they're a hoax, or just a way to fill quotas, or just for side advertising. It's so hard to even get. They don't even want to give you a business card at these jobs fairs. A lot of times those guys aren't hiring. But there's so much emotional stress of not being able to get an interview that you have to somewhat go to these job fairs just to feel like you're talking to somebody. It's almost like therapy. But I know some people say they've gotten jobs, but look, the reality is a very, very small people have gotten jobs directly through a job fair. If you do get a job, it's usually because 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line, hey, I remember this guy, you've made a good impression, and he remembered you and saved your resume and saved your card to call you back. And I guess some people say, yeah, see, you got it from a job fair. But to me, I kind of don't count that, because at that moment in time, the job wasn't open. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say they're a waste of time, but for a lot of people, it's a waste of time. So really, I just wanted to air out, guys, and I think we really need to talk more about this, because this is a serious situation, and I think that we need to give each other, more support in this matter, because it's not going to get any better, especially with Obama. He's just itching to screw up the damn healthcare. How are you going to touch the healthcare and you don't even have anything to replace it with? Does that sound logical to you? I'm telling you, I am so worried for the things that this man Trump has for us. And I'm even more worried for what Trump may or may not do for the gay community, or even reverse all the hard work that all our civil gay rights activists have worked so hard for. It's just terrible. the rhetoric that this man has spewed, and it hasn't even been a month yet since he's been president. I'm just still beside myself that this guy managed to get this job. You know, how, you know. And what's even more crazy that, you know, he's still with this, you know, Hillary needs to be investigated for these emails, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, if she had emails, okay, if she really had emails with truly sensitive information, you know, we have technology to where we can send a beam, you know, where's my pen? I don't have this pen. Have satellites that they can beam a light from space right onto the head of this pen. Believe me, if Hillary had emails with very sensitive information in there, they would have found out about it a long time ago, you know. And in the fact that this lie was able to affect her campaign was just like totally ridiculous, you know, with this, you know, fake news or alternative news, you know. Call it what it is. It's not alternative facts, it's propaganda. Propaganda has been existing since I don't know what. It's nothing new, you know. It's nothing new, you know. But anyway, I'm getting off topic again. I want you guys to really think about this and really pressure Trump to do whatever it is he has to do to create real jobs with pension, full-time jobs with pension, you know, full-time jobs with good health care, you know, not this high deductible bullshit that a lot of these companies are going for now, you know. It's just unbelievable. I don't understand it. But anyway, thank you for watching. You know, if you know, you have something to say, just make a comment below and like, and see you again later. Thanks. Bye.